everyone. Today I'm going to be interviewing Allistair McCaw, who is an author of multiple best-selling books. He is Champion Minded is one of the books he's written. It's done very well. He's a consultant, author, and keynote speaker, and he shares his insights and experience with some of the top leaders, performers, teams, and organizations. So welcome, Allistair, and thank you for giving us the time.
Thanks so much, Natalie. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. All right, so your GC index profile shows that you're a high polisher with a very close second in Playmaker, strategist, and game changer. Your implementer score is slightly less, but if you had to say what your second highest proclivity or inclination is, what would you say this is?
I would definitely say the Playmaker, because it definitely relates to what I do in my job, that there is, I must admit, looking at it is pretty accurate if I was to guess for myself what the numbers would be here. But definitely Playmaker would be up there, because in my line of work, it is getting things to happen. It's taking action. Obviously the strategist is about planning. I need to plan. The game changers, I need to be innovative. I need to be creative. That's what people pay me for, is to come up with ideas and what the future looks like in, for example, what I work in with the sports industry and so on and so forth. So definitely the Playmaker for sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so you've had a very successful career, obviously. What does your profile tell us about what underpins your success? Like, if you look at that and your polisher, what do you think is the thing that underpins why you're successful?
I would say, first of all, work ethic and a discipline from a young age, of when someone asks me what is success, it really is obviously as you define it, but it comes down to discipline. But, the polisher for sure, from a young age, I would say, I was always setting goals and always looking to the future. And, I'm a visionary as well. Even as a kid, I would visualize myself being a champion athlete, which I'm very blessed that had happened. So definitely the polisher, about creating a future. Also the fact that to reach a high level in anything, you have to be a near perfectionist or a perfectionist, but that can also be your Achilles heel as well, because nothing's ever good enough. So, and funny, I wrote about it in my latest book, about the fact that I've had to work on accepting a good job and not always, it's, for example, and sorry if I'm waffling on here, but
No, carry on.
It's like if I'm working on a presentation to, like a PowerPoint presentation, that will get changed 30 times, which is not necessary.
Yeah.
And instead of like maybe after 3 or 4 times going, you know what, that's good
enough. Yeah.
And that's been the challenge. So yeah, for sure, the polisher really resonates.
Okay. All right. So this is a leadership style that's obviously worked well for you. Do you think it fits your worldview and your value systems, like the way you feel about the world?
That's a tough question. I think in all these things, your values is your foundation. All my decisions are taken from my values, and that's why I always tell people that it's very important to have values, to know what your values are. So it's a tough question to answer with regards to this. I mean, I think everything is value related there. Your Playmaker is about obviously dealing with people, and what are your values there? What do you accept? What don't you accept? Being a game changer as well. Is it within the correct ethics of what you're doing, and within, so everything is pretty related there with values, I'd say. So, hopefully that answers your question there. No, if not, ask me in a different way.
Different way. No, well, I mean, I think you've said, you've always pushed yourself and must try harder. That's definitely a polisher value. If a job is worth doing, it's worth doing properly. I think that's definitely a polisher value. And I believe from what you've said, that is how you live your life. So, so what key skills do you think you've developed over the years that has helped you develop your polisher, the polisher in you?
I would say making better choices through the experiences I've had. So, they always talk about, have you had one experience in 20 years? So for example, have you been in one position in a job for 20 years? And sometimes when I hear about people that have been at a job for 25 years in that same office, I'm, some people might admire that. I do, but I'm thinking, wow, like your world for 25 years has been that office and that view outside the window, if you had a window. So for me, it's about having, 20 experiences in 1 year. That doesn't mean job hopping. That means getting a lot of experiences, which have helped me make better decisions. And something, we're all getting older and it goes very fast. But one of the great things about that is you get to trust your gut feel more. And what is your gut feel? Your gut feel is your experiences, but you make better choices, or you just feel this doesn't feel right, or this person doesn't, there's an energy there, for example. So I'd say with the polisher, it's helped me make better decisions over the years through experiences. Also, as I just mentioned there with perfectionism, I feel I've got better in that with regards knowing that the job has been well done. I don't need to question myself. Is that good enough? Is that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would go along those lines. And a big part of my job is working with perfectionists, because, and I always say this, that I've never met somebody successful that's easy to work with, because their standards are high and they're near perfectionists or perfectionists, which means that they're never satisfied with the result. So so I would say that all those experiences have helped me become a better polisher.
And it is, I mean, by nature, polish is refining all the time. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So when in your career, if you think back, have you felt most in tune with your polisher and possibly your playmaker?
At what stage?
Well, like if you think back on life, like when was your polisher really energizing you, and that you felt you were completely in tune with that part of you?
Yeah, I would say that obviously, again, with age, it's become better, and I'm more like at peace with it, even though I'm still not completely. But I've had like two lives in a way. I was like a professional athlete, and that's also a perfectionist game as well. Is that you can always run faster, you can always have a better time, you can always be a higher position. So there's always that ladder the whole time. And then now into my career, there's that element as well. So I would say now from a point of view of being more I don't think a polisher can ever be at peace.
No.
Because it's in you. You just can't go, I don't care anymore. Yeah. Of course you can't. So no. I don't believe a polisher can ever be at peace, because that's why they've been, or where they are. So, but I'd say now, even though I'm definitely not at peace.
At peace with it, maybe, not necessarily that you've stopped driving.
Yeah, I suppose if I had to compare it to 5 years ago, then yes, I would say definitely now. I believe we metamorphosize every 5 years. You look back to who you were 5 years ago, and you'll agree that you're not the same person.
No.
And in 5 years' time, you'll look back to who you were now and agree that you're not the same person, because you've experienced another 5 years of things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that whole learning agility and definitely changing all the time. Yeah. Okay, so your Playmaker score is also reasonably high, and you've said you think that's also accurate. So Playmakers think in terms of we rather than I, because one of the skills of a Playmaker is obviously to recognize the skills of others around them and to bring out the best in them. If you think back, who are the people or the individuals that complement you? Who is it that you would want in your team? I mean, who are the people who complement your proclivities and get the best out of you? You don't have to say names, I just mean the type of people.
Definitely honesty. And I think, honesty is a big thing in terms of having the hard conversations, having people that can, and I think we were very lucky Natalie, we both went to the same school, the same era where you got brutal honesty when you were younger, you know. Today it's softened up a little bit. You don't want to hurt feelings, but you're not really getting to the point. You're not, you know, you're hurting your own feelings by not expressing those things. So I think honesty, I want to work with people that have good emotional intelligence, that are able to say, you know, I don't think that's the correct way you're going there, Allistair. Let me suggest this. What do you think? And not, you know, not tell, for example. So that would be important. People that are striving for excellence is very important for me. People with good standards, people that are not judgmental. Those are important people I like to work with, or want to work with. You know, we spoke about Kevin Anderson there, for example, and Kevin's very much that person. Highly disciplined, very honest, extremely high standards. Of course, you know, he comes from Johannesburg as well, so I don't know if that's something that a culture thing that we just get each other. I don't think everybody's like that, obviously, from Johannesburg. I mean, but yeah, that's where it clicked with that type of personality. You know, he's not easy to get along with. He's a very respectful, super guy. I'm sure you've seen him on TV and interviews, but he's tough. He questions a lot of things, and those are the people I like to work with. He's made me better by, you know, you'll say, okay, let's do this, and he'll go, why? And he's not being disrespectful. He really wants to understand why we're going to do that, where that links. And, you know, so those are people I love to work with. They make me better because I've got to have answers.
Yeah.
You know?
No, makes sense. So if you look at things or your way forward through the GC index lens, is there anything that you might change or you'd be more aware of going forward?
Obviously the implementer, you know, being the lowest, that's one, and I haven't had enough time to really look into it and go, okay, why am I, because implementation of things is very important for me, but I can procrastinate on things that need to be implemented, you know, so that resonates. Maybe it's things I don't enjoy doing that need to be done, but it's not being implemented yet. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, if that goes along with that, but
it does. I think one of the like contradictions between a polisher and an implementer is the polisher is always refining and the implementer is saying it's good enough, let's do it. So maybe that's the conflict that you might have.
Yeah, well, you know,
but it's not, again, sorry.
Yeah, when you're creating excellence in anything that you do, good is never good enough. So good is the enemy of great. And I would find it difficult to work with somebody that's a high implementer. I would probably think.
Yeah.
That's
again, like I said in the beginning, it's not a competency measure. It's not saying you're not an implementer. I think that's your polisher coming out like, why?
Sure,
improve it.
No. I mean, of course. Yeah, of course.
It's just saying that that's not what energizes you most. That's all. So you're not an implementer, Allistair.
Yeah,
right.
This is definitely something I've got to you know, really digest and look over. So yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, you obviously have great insights into yourself and your career and people in general, which is probably why you're successful, or one of the reasons. But yeah, that about wraps it up. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. Thank you for giving me your time. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy. And yeah, wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much, Natalie, and thanks for you know, having me on this, and it's been incredibly interesting. So yeah, thanks for your time. I appreciate it too.
Pleasure. Cool.